March 22nd, 1850. No, hold on. May 22nd. May 22nd, 1863. As if to confirm that grim prophecy, U.S. Grant launched the larger and deadlier assault on May 22nd, preceded by a massive artillery barrage. As men of the 20th Ohio Infantry prepared to charge the forbidden Confederate works, they entrusted their rings, pictures, and other keepsakes to the cooks, who would not see action. "This watch I want you to send to my father if I never return," said one man. "I'm going to Vicksburg, and if I do not get back, just send these little trifles home, will you?" asked another. Confederates gave their foes credit for advancing bravely into a murderous firestorm. "This is a death struggle and will be terrible," General Sherman said outside of Vicksburg. So we're on the Vicksburg campaign. So let's just, a couple events that had happened just prior to the siege of Vicksburg. December 29, 1862, Grant's first campaign against Vicksburg ends with Sherman's defeat at Chickasaw Bluffs in Mississippi. December 31st, Battle of Stones River, Tennessee. April 16th, Grant launches the second campaign against Vicksburg. April 29th, the Battle of the Grand Gulf, Mississippi. May 1st, Battle of Port Gibson, Mississippi. May 16th, Battle of Champions Hill, Mississippi. May 18th to the 4th, Siege of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Also, the Siege of Port Hudson, Louisiana, May 27th to July 9th. It was not a happy new year for William Sherman. A few days earlier, on December 29th, 1862, his Federals had suffered a bloody repulse at Chickasaw Bluffs near Vicksburg. He now had to abandon plans to capture that fortified town situated on high ground overlooking the Mississippi. "I assume all the responsibilities and attach fault to no one," he wrote in his official report on January 3rd, "and am generally satisfied with the high spirit manifested by all." He summed up the situation more bluntly in a letter to his wife. We have been to Vicksburg, and it was too much for us, and we have backed out." Sherman hated to admit defeat, but he was not the first Federal commander who had tried and failed to take Vicksburg. David Farragut, after capturing New Orleans, had twice led fleets up the Mississippi. In 62, bombarded the town. The damage he did was slight compared to the harm done to his own ships by Vicksburg's batteries in the Confederate ironclad Arkansas. When Farragut gave up the fight in late July, returned to New Orleans, the best he could say for his efforts was that they showed the enemy that we were prompt and always ready to be upon them with a sharp stick. It would take more than a sharp stick to force the surrender of Vicksburg. One of the few things on which Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson Davis agreed was the strategic significance of this hub, which linked the core of the Confederacy to the Confederate Southwest by river and rail. Through Vicksburg, from Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas, came shipments vital to Southerners in their war effort, including beef, grain, and weapons of European manufacture imported through Mexico to avoid the Federal blockade. As Davis put it, Vicksburg was the nailhead that held the South's two halves together. And as long as Confederate batteries remained atop the bluffs and dominated the river below, Vicksburg would also serve to divide the Union by preventing Federals from moving freely between occupied Memphis and New Orleans and keeping Midwestern farmers from transporting their produce by barge to the Gulf of Mexico for shipment to the East Coast. Okay, so I've lost 1,700 men, and those infernal reporters will publish all over the country their ridiculous stories about Sherman being whipped, etc. Only 1,700 men, that is nothing. Simply an episode in the war. You'll lose 17,000 before the war is over. That first quote was by William Sherman. The second one was Rear Admiral David Dixon Porter. "Old David Dixon Porter, all around us and often breaking through was a yelling mob, officers weeping or swearing, soldiers demoralized or shivering Union soldier at Stones River. My poor orphans, my poor orphan brigade, they've cut it to pieces." Confederate John C. Breckinridge While we worked on that canal, almost one half of the men was sick and could not work. They were dying every day like mice, and no wonder. Union Sergeant under General Sherman. I think Grant has hardly a friend left except myself. Abraham Lincoln. It was the greatest spectacle of my life. Our batteries were in full play, blazing away at the line of gunboats, making their way past them and giving them shot for shot. General, the rebels are awful thick up here. Union officer to Major General John Logan at Champions Hill. Damn it, that's the place to kill them, where they are thick. General Logan's reply. So there's two stories. They're talking about how they just ran up to it and just getting mowed down, right? Makes me think of Gettysburg, makes me think of D-Day, right? So just Union soldier after Union soldiers. 500 Federals are going to die on May 22nd, 1863. 500 Union men. 500 Americans were killed by these white supremacist piles of shit who want to maintain the peculiar institution of slavery. Oh, you're racist piles of shit. Oh, you hate Lincoln? What's your thoughts about James Buchanan? No thoughts, huh? You're just a dumb racist pile of fucking shit. You got no thoughts on James Buchanan? Then why do you hate Lincoln? That was fucking 30 presidents ago. Well, you know that for the 23rd president, though, he was a doozy. Who's the 23rd president? You don't fucking know. You just hate Lincoln because you're a racist bitch. Oh, you think Hitler's a smart man because you're a racist bitch? So you have Union soldiers just basically running up for the cause, right? Black liberation is also white liberation. Lincoln was right then. He was right before. The black man's been a black man. The black man has been a man since the beginning. He's the original man. So Caucasian, if the black man isn't a man, you're not a man. You're a mutated albino. You're a recessive version of that black man. So you are that black man, but just a little more recessive. Just kind of more. There's this one guy, Thomas Higgins, color bearer. So I imagine this guy's just fucking, he don't even have a gun. Thomas Higgins is just fucking waving the American flag of the 99th Illinois Infantry. He amazed Confederates by advancing by himself toward their works with the American flag in hand. And after everybody around him had been shot down, he still kept running. Come on, you brave Yank. Come on, the Confederates started yelling. The Confederates had dropped their guns and they raised their hats. Come on. Come on, Yank, come on. And he did come. And he was taken by the hand and pulled over the breastworks, wrote one soldier. And when it was discovered that Thomas Higgins didn't even have a scratch, 100 Texans wrung his hands. Congratulate him. Oh my God, what a miraculous escape. What a miraculous escape from the jaws of death. But few in his position were fortunate. 500 Union men died that day. Reminds me of Braveheart when he just ran through the... We'll have to dig our way in, Grant concluded. 2,500 were wounded. They say this is the worst day of the campaign. That men extended trenches ever closer to the Confederate works and tightening his grip on the defenders until they cracked. The boa constrictor has drawn his coils around us with all his strength, wrote Major Raleigh Camp of the 40th Georgia Infantry. As Grant methodically laid siege to Vicksburg, he has found that he cannot kill his victims at one stroke with his fangs, so he has concluded to crush us out by the squeezing process. Confederates at the barricades were constantly being sniped at or bombarded, and more than a few of the shells lobbed at them landed in town, prompting civilians to take shelter in caves dug out of the soft clay soil. Some of those caves collapsed, burying people. About 50 civilians were wounded or killed during the siege, and the hot, sleepless nights in the shelters were an ordeal for all. I shall what? So... there you go. There's some shit going on May 22nd, 1863. It was pretty remarkable. Basically, that motherfucker just carrying the American flag he was a goner, a suicide mission. I don't even know if he had a gun. He's just the color bearer Just a guy with a fucking flag, Russian, running into battle. Holy shit. And then it was the worst day, but apparently the siege of Vicksburg still is going to carry on. And the idea was, it's a siege. It's a siege. This is like an actual siege. Surround the bastards and just keep on pressing. Surround the bastards and keep, just like how they arrested Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis can put on a skirt. Jefferson Davis can put on some high heels and wear all the makeup he wants to wear. Jefferson Davis, you an ugly ass woman. There's no way you could even pass for a woman. You put on all, you curl your hair, you go ahead and you wear the most prettiest bonnet and so thank God for the Civil War. Thank God for the Civil War. Time of the Golgi tendon, electromagnetism, Merkle touch and texture, rotations and vibrations and rotations. Itch, dizzy and dream, smell, taste and hearing, distance and direction. Proprioception, lanceolate, oxygen intake, vestibular, balance, gyroscope, eyesight, air pressure, texture, thirst, fatigue, air pressure, coldness and pain and hunger. Organ stretch, lung, stomach, bladder, and hunger. Coldness and pain, kinesthesia, and coldness and pain. Proprioception, and coldness and pain. Sense of direction, coldness and pain. And coldness and pain. Coldness and pain. Now, let's just tie this in with Jordan Neely. So you have a person who's just saying, hey, I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. Well, he might die of fucking hunger and thirst, and if he's acting erratically, well, he's hungry and thirsty. So you hurry up and you give him a bottle of water and you give him some sandwich, a piece of bread or something. And when you don't hurry up and get him some water and a piece of bread, well, he can only survive a few hours without water. You're allowed to use reasonable and necessary force. We're trying to form a more perfect union here. You do sometimes have to out crazy. And you put it in front of a jury trial. Put it in front of a jury trial. Our jury trial, our jury system works. Person gets charged. Jury looks at the situation. If the guy is innocent, the guy is innocent. I feel like put the man in handcuffs. Put the man on his stomach. Put the man in handcuffs, tie his hand behind his back. Once your hands are tied behind your back, there isn't really much you could do. Also, it took 9 seconds to kill Eric Garner. It took 9 seconds. So this idea of being able to preemptively attack another person just because even Lincoln didn't do that. Lincoln became the president. They all seceded. He waited until the Confederates attacked Fort Sumter. He waited until the Confederates invaded Kentucky. Who invaded Kentucky's neutrality first? Who raped Kentucky's virginity first? The Confederates. And then the Union soldiers had to come in just to defend the state government. They were invaded by a foreign army. Pritchard. Was it Pritchard? So I'd like to have a civil society. I'd like to have a crime-free, abuse-free society as a civil society. But unfortunately, these Christian rat bastards are wicked as fuck. They're on the side of criminals who criminalize them. They don't give a shit about others. They don't have any empathy. They have no souls. They got no heartbeat and they got no souls. They're fucking zombies. They just know to obey daddy and priest. Bunch of fascists and their fucking kiss asses. That's it. That's the extent of America. We're not even a fascist society. We're not supposed to be on paper. We believe in all these freedoms. Why the fuck would there be so many fucking fascists all over the fucking place? There's other people that talk about fascists? Are you kidding me? I've never known that to happen. That's never been. So it makes no sense to me to preemptively attack another person. He's being erratic over there. He made someone feel unsafe. Okay, you restrained him. So you're making a citizen's arrest? Or were you choking him out until he dies? Cops can't even do that. Cops would arrest him, take him to jail. So he's holding him down. And then you let him up easy. You slowly let go. See if he's still like fucking attacking and fucking acting crazy and shit. You let him up easy. You don't murder the guy. 9 seconds. And incredible how people will sit there and say, you can't ask for a sandwich in the subway, but you're allowed to murder, you're allowed to choke someone to death. No wonder that Uber Eats guy got fucking killed in Florida by that gang member. I mean, that's American culture, right? Uber Eats was delivering some food. He had some pocket change. And so the gangster went ahead and took everything away from him. Clearly one is in the right and the other one's in the wrong. Clearly there's probable cause of a crime occurring. There's a dead body. There's a dead body. That's probable cause. No, a dead body is probable cause. Yeah, no, a dead body is probable cause. To preemptively attack another is like, that person's about to attack us all. Well, you better attack him first. Okay. What? No, that's not how it works. You got to wait for violence to happen first. To be the good person, to be the righteous person, to be the lawful person, to be the moral person, you can't be the one. You can't sucker punch and sucker shoot and sucker attack people. So if the guy was in the guy's face and saying, oh, I'm about to hit you, and then he goes to swing the guy, and then the guy grabs a hold of his fist and then puts him in a chokehold, okay. No questions asked. This isn't even a story. And he's still not allowed to murder the man, but he was defending himself, and it's clear as day he was defending himself. It don't seem like dude's defending himself. It don't seem like dude's defending anybody else. You have to wait for violence to happen first. Haven't y'all watched goddamn Karate Kid? You don't learn to fight to go bully and attack people. You learn to fight to stop people from attacking. Preemptive violence isn't preemptive anything. It's initiative violence. Well, I'm just gonna punch him just in case he punches me first. You're the one starting the fight. The person who punches first is the one who starts the fight. Well, he was eyeballing me, you know. I had a gut feeling. This son of a bitch. What? You're not allowed to preemptively attack anybody. So Lincoln knew that. And, you know, there's questions of Union and slavery and America and Fort Sumter, but you attacked Fort Sumter, you invaded Kentucky. He's defending Kentucky. He's allowed to invade Kentucky in defense of it, properly defending it. We didn't invade Kentucky. We let Kentucky be its own state until the Confederates invaded, and then we took Kentucky over. Fort Sumter was its own thing, doing its own thing. Why did you even have to worry about Fort Sumter? Don't let Fort Sumter be Fort Sumter. You could be Virginia. Fort Sumter could be Fort Sumter. They attacked Fort Sumter. Now we're the victims. Just sleepy-eyed, sitting in our little military fort, not bothering anybody, just kind of waving our little American flag. U.S. Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. That's a great abbreviation. U.S. Grant. Like underwear, Samantha. Uncle Sam, Ulysses S. I guess it doesn't matter what the U or the S, it's just, that's U.S. Grant. Oh, Ulysses. Good American name right there. Good old Ulysses. There's Fred and Tom, Mark and Sally, and Ulysses. Shut the hell up, Ulysses. No. You sit down. Why are you going to be racist against me? Because my name's Ulysses? Can I be unique and different? You can. And that's okay.